At InDigital, we know that public safety professionals hold themselves to a high standard. In fact, standard doesn't do it justice. In over 25 years working alongside you, carrying millions of calls over our IP networks, your dedication has inspired us. That's why our ESI Net goes beyond industry standards, not only i3 compliant, but designed to adapt to future development for a network you can count on when it matters most. Learn more at indigital.net.
Carbyne, it's multimedia. You can get text, translate to whatever language, getting away with the legacy equipment and going into a cloud-based solution.
It's the first time in U.S. history that we have an EZNet through cloud-native call handling.
As a police officer, to have the victim go video, that's unheard of.
You're getting upgrades every month, not every year.
To schedule your free Carbyne demo, please visit carbyne.com/WTT.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Dispatch.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch. We are waiting for our lunch, and there's no one here to cook our lunch.
All right, calm down. Where are you at?
The group home. Now, what are you going to do?
We'll get some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. All right, what's going on here? There we are. That's right. Okay. I see what's happening here. You're face to face with greatness, and it's strange. You don't even know how you feel. It's adorable. Well, it's nice to see that dispatchers never change. Open your eyes. Let's begin. Yes, it's really me. It's Ricardo. Breathe it in. I know it's a lot. The hair, the bod, when you're staring at a demigod. But what can I say except you're welcome? For the tides, the sun, the sky. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. I'm just an ordinary demiguy. Oh man, this is great. So I'm not gonna do this episode like this because you are not gonna be able to take me seriously. But I wanted to jump on here really quick this way. So my youngest daughter is going to be Moana. So of course, I'm going to be Maui. So hold on. Give me a moment. For those who jumped in here, yeah, you got to witness this. So hold on. I'll be right back. And now all you're going to be able to hear is me changing. And I'm back. Oh, happy Halloween, everyone. I know we're still a few days away, but I wanted to jump on and to at least do that. I was I was talking to my sister right before I went live and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna do this. Like I want to. I want to do it, but I'm not sure. Like I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hold it. But I'm glad I did it because that was fun. I I hope that you enjoyed that. And Hank, I would have left it on, but I'm honestly in this room, it is hella hot. And I was already feeling it around my face. Like there was no way I'd be able to do this episode all the way dressed up as Maui. But I will make sure on Halloween when we go out and everything to take pictures and everything, and it'll be a good time. But again, I wanted to do that also because some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about tonight, there is no way that you would be able to take me seriously. But I'm glad that for all of you that were here right off the bat in the beginning, that you were able to see and experience that with me. That was a lot of fun. So welcome to Open Mic Live. It is Saturday, October 29th, and usually do these on Thursdays, but when I travel, I try to do them on a Saturday. And so I'm back from Little Rock, Arkansas. I went out there for a secret trip. I went out there for an event, something that I'll reveal later on, and not today, but later on sometime I'll put out there what it was I was doing there. But either way, it was good. I'm back, but I'm going on about 2.5, maybe 3 hours of sleep because my flight was super early today, and I don't go to sleep early. So if I look like hell, well, I definitely look like it and feel like it. I'm exhausted, but I love doing this, and it's so much fun, and it's going to be a good time because it's some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about. But as always, when we do Open Mic Live, how are you feeling? How are you doing? Even though I'm exhausted. Oh, thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that. Even though I'm exhausted and shit, I'm feeling pretty good. Like I would say I'm at a 9, man. I'm coming in at a 9. So it's good. This has been good. I think it's because I started this dressed up, because before I was more like at a 5 or 6. And then I did that and I'm like, bam, I'm up there at a 9. So for all of you who are here, what are your numbers? How are you feeling? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shitty and 10 being amazing, how are you feeling? Please throw that in the comments there. Also, roll call. Where are you watching from? And please make sure to hit those reactions, but also share this broadcast on your feed as well as your favorite dispatch page. And I thank you very much. This live broadcast is sponsored by InDigital as well as Carbine. And a shout out to patrons as always. Thank you for everything. And we're going to jump in because, as I said, Halloween is coming up. Also, episode 466 went out, and that was an open mic episode. There's a lot of good, funny stories that came out of that, and you've heard a lot of those. I played several leading up to the release, but also we've got episode 467 that's going to be coming out here this coming Wednesday, November 2nd, and that is with former paramedic and author Kevin Hazard. He's the author of American Sirens, and that episode is phenomenal. So you are going to dig it, and I'm excited to have all of you hear it as well. It was such a good episode. And then there's a bunch of other ones that are going to be coming up. And Teresa, I did get your message, and I'll get it hooked up here by the end of the day tomorrow. Just through the travel and everything else that's been going on, I hadn't had a chance to jump onto the form and everything where I schedule all the episodes, but I will get that out there for you. And then also we have been slowly building back up
the what? LOL, yeah. Come on now. I'll get it to you. Don't worry. We're going to be recording on the 1st. Like you are working or something. I know, right? Yeah. I'm not doing shit. I'm not working at all. Of course I'm working. I'm always working. We are slowly building up the Discord server, which is called The Trenches. And I'm going to put the link here. And make sure to jump onto that. It's just another way that building community. Had been going strong with it. And then just so much stuff was going on between virtual events, episodes, speaking engagements, so many different things. It fell off. And then some folks ended up jumping on there and were like, we need to bring this back. So we've been slowly bringing it back. You can join the Discord server. When you do so, make sure to go to rules and the rules channel. It's right on the left. Go to the rules channel, scroll down, hit the green check mark, and then all of the channels on the left side will reveal themselves. This is where we're going to be staying in touch with each other, even more so for Dare to Be Great 4. All of the speakers are going to be, they're in a private chat with me, but there is also a Dare to Be Great channel that's on there where the speaker slicks will be there, so you know what sessions are coming up, what time, and what the sessions are about. And then the speakers are going to be there as well within that channel, and we'll be able to chat with all of you during the time that Dare to Be Great 4 is going on. But there are also all kinds of channels that are on there as well. You know, we would talk about movies, TV, quotes, memes, just other stories. Like there's a bunch of different stuff. So make sure to check that out. Also, speaking of Dare to Be Great, registration is up, and let's continue to push registration all the way up until, you know, the time that we go live with this. So there's the link right there. Make sure to register. If you can't attend live, register anyway, because it's unlimited registration, unlimited viewing, and you can go back and watch it on your time. That's how it is, and it's always there. So make sure to register either way. And what I'm trying to do is I want to see which state has the largest presence. And I think Kansas is leading the way right now. And they've been pushing. So let's continue to push. Let's continue to get all of that out of there and register up, and please share as well. So some of the stories that we're going to be talking about today, if you have any funny 911 stories, please throw them in the comments. I will read them and we will discuss them. But also, if you have any spooky 911 calls, or maybe your dispatch center is haunted, if you have any of those stories, throw them in there as well, and I'll read them. We'll go through them. But I also have some stories of my own, some personal ones, and they're ones that I've shared before. But not everyone who is on here has heard them. So I'm going to be sharing them tonight as well for those who have not heard them. And if you have before, stay tuned, because either way, hearing it, especially if you're at home alone watching this right now, some creepy shit. Or if you're in dispatch, let's say you're the only person working in dispatch right now. You're at one of those centers where it's just you by yourself for 8 hours or 12 hours. You know, you get into those moments where there's not much going on, and then you hear something and you're like, what the hell? What was that? And then you get kind of freaked out. And then, something happens. You're like, I say this because when I first started dispatching, I dispatched in a small police department, and I was the only one for 8 hours. And there were a couple times where a couple officers scared the shit out of me, but I would be sitting there and there'd be nothing going on, and just I would hear something and I would just be sitting there like, what the huh? Because it's an older building. I don't know. I was never told that that it was haunted or anything like that, but I do know of some friends of mine who, especially around here in Indiana, some of their centers are haunted, like straight up haunted. Like they've told stories of stuff that's happened around there. And the county that I used to work in, it was actually the county that I grew up in as well, Allegan. There's a lot of spooky shit that goes on around there as well, like the old Allegan jail. Like they do ghost tours around there and stuff, and you walk in and I believe it's like sound like people are kind of hitting the bars of the jail cells and stuff, and you get to walk through there. And I thought, I love to be scared. Like the horror genre is my genre. I'm all about that. But either way, like that that shit is freaky. But also, if you have these stories, like they don't have to be part of dispatch or 911 or anything like that. It could be something that you've dealt with personally. And I like to go to, like, when I go to conferences and stuff, and I'm sitting with a group of dispatchers, and we just start talking about different things. And somehow, for some reason, my haunted house ends up coming up. And of course, everyone is always like, nah, that didn't happen. Like, no, it did. It did happen. A lot of different things happened. So before I get to that, though, I want to start with a mansion that is in the county that I dispatched for. Okay. It's called the Felt Mansion. And you can look this up if you want. It's called the Felt Mansion. F-E-L-T. Look it up. Felt Mansion. But it's also known as the Wobblehead Mansion. Because in this area, I mean, according to legend, there were I don't know if there were kids to begin with, or because they're also known as melon heads. Now, if you've ever heard about this, please throw it in the comments, because I don't think it was just in Michigan. I think there were other states that that this was talked about. So I want to share a picture here really quick. So here it is. Let me put it like this. So this is a wobble or melon head. Okay. And so I'm just going to say where I found this on the web, on this website. It's one of the local news affiliates, CBS affiliate. It's News Channel 3. And this was something, I think this was posted back in 2016, but people talk about it, and it's called Michigan Monsters, and is Beware of the Melon Heads of Saugatuck. So in Saugatuck, also, just north of their Laketown Township, is this mansion. And this is where, people talk about this, and, we would get calls out there because, actually, let me take a drink of water here. And please, any comments or anything, throw them in there, because, again, we used to get phone calls from this area on different things that would happen within these woods. And before I started working there, there was a building there that was it was an old prison, and there would be phone calls where like teenagers would go into this abandoned building, and like some creepy shit would happen there. But here we go. I'm just gonna kind of read this from the website. And it says, we're continuing our special series of reports called Michigan Monsters. This week, we're taking a look at a mysterious creature that is unique to West Michigan. Now, it says unique, but I have heard that Michigan is not the only spot where melon heads or wobbleheads were seen. And it says, so they're called melon heads. And it says, these little people with large heads are said to creep around the woods of Allegan County. Stories of their origin differ, but one thing's for sure, they've scared a lot of people. So here's a quote that they have. And the quote says, I can see if you're there by yourself or with one other person and you hear something you're not used to hearing. Your imagination will start to run away with you. Or could it be a melon head? and this is according to legend, according to the people around there, this is all true shit. Now, I wish that I had like audio, for like a phone call of somebody calling in and talking about this, but it says a vast network of trails in Laketown Township surrounding the Felt Mansion and Saugatuck Dunes State Park are said to be haunted by this mysterious band of creatures. So, for those who are watching right now, how many of you have taken 911 calls about mysterious creatures or something out of the ordinary? If you have, please put it in the comments because I want to know. I want to read this. But also, let's just kind of explore this scenario for a moment, right? You're in dispatch. It's nighttime or getting close. Yeah. And you get a phone call. And it's someone reporting what we're looking at here on the screen. So somebody calls in. 911, where's your emergency? Okay, so you know that mansion, like the Felt Mansion out in Laketown? Yes. What's going on out there? Well, so my friends and I were walking through the woods and we saw like this little person. I don't even know how to explain it, but the person started walking towards us very aggressively. Its head is enormous, and you're dispatch, right? You're taking this call, and that area, and the first thing you're thinking is, dude, it's got to be a melon head. So you're putting this in. How are you going to put that out over the radio? Is this suspicious? Right? Probably. I can't imagine. Also, like the officers that are going out there are probably like, shit, I know this area. What if I see one out there? Because there have been people who have claimed that. And what I had said, I'm pretty sure I read that in a newspaper article a long time ago where this person said that they saw someone out there in the woods and this little person with this big old head started aggressively going towards them and they ran. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine running just the way it is in this picture, running through the woods, and you can hear that person running after you, and you're on the phone. Hell no. That would be crazy. So here's continuing with the story, and it says, you do hear stories of older people saying, well, when I was a teenager in the 1950s, we would be out there and see glowing eyes in the woods. Or we might see something. So let's explore that further. What else did you see? What do you see now? I don't hear or see the person anymore. Oh my God, wait. I swear to you, I swear to you, I'm not on drugs or drinking or anything, but I'm looking into the woods right now and I see glowing eyes. Dude, like, can you imagine if you're taking this 911 call? Because what is it that we do? Like, we can't see anything, right? We're piecing it together in our heads, but also new technology, video to 911. What if the person is like, I wish I could show this to you? And then you're like, damn, well, I'm obligated now to say, I can send you a link. And I can see what you see. So you send them the link, they click on it, and you are able to see what they're looking at. And you see those glowing eyes too. What crazy shit would that be? You know? Because you know it's going to happen. Video to 911. Great innovation. So many good things that can be done with it. But also, someone is seeing some glowing fucking eyes in the woods. You are going to see it as well. I wasn't even thinking about that at first. Like, just till now, putting that together, like, oh shit. You are going to be able to see that shit now. How many of you that are on here right now would like to see that? Seriously, like, please throw it in the comments. I want to know. Because there are a lot of people out there using video to 911, but think about this scenario. Somebody's running away from something or someone through the woods, and then they stop for whatever reason. Just like in a horror movie, people stop, right? And you're like, nah, son, you better keep running. Get out of there. We have help on the way, but you need to get out of there. But then they stop and they're like, I don't hear it anymore. But I see glowing eyes in the woods. I'd probably piss myself right there. I don't know about you, but I would probably piss myself right there. And then hopefully start running again. Because I'm not about to get taken out. So, continuing on with this story, it says, legend has it, the Melonheads live in an underground series of tunnels, sometimes jumping out to attack people or eat them. No, dude. There are lots of different stories about how these little monsters got here. They all have to do with people who have, I think it's hydrocephalus. And it's a real condition, okay? This is a real condition. So it's excess fluid in the brain that causes the head to grow to an abnormal size. And it says the stories say melon-headed children lived at an insane asylum near the Felt Mansion. Now, it's legend, right? However, there was a building there. It was an asylum and a prison. That building isn't there anymore. It ended up getting knocked down. However, if you go out to that area, well, for one, there'll be a bunch of, what is it? Is it Frisbee golf? I don't remember if that's what it's actually called, but that's what it is. They've got a course there and people are playing. But in the middle of that course, which I think is west of the mansion, is where that building used to be. And there are like little pieces that are still left there. But those tunnels that they're talking about is underneath that area and within those woods. So they're saying, those stories, they say that the melon-headed children lived at that insane asylum near the Felt Mansion. And then it goes on to say there was a doctor or scientist and he had the children and started conducting experiments on them. Fuck. And the Melonheads revolted, it says. Legend has it. Oh, my brother's on. What up, dude? Find the tunnels, right? Yes. And it goes on to say that this person who's kind of telling this story with that they're interviewing, Dylan, what's up, yo? It goes on to say killing him, eating him, and going into the woods where they supposedly are today. Like, seriously. People believe that they're there now. I've been there at night like a dumbass. I've gotten out of my car with a couple friends and started walking around, and we heard like the creepiest noises and like very high pitched screams, and we're like, hell no. Got back in the car and hauled ass. It was creepy shit. Now, whenever I go back there, it's only been during the day. However, some of these stories people have said, even during the day, they have seen things. Not the glowing eyes, of course, because it's during the day. You can't see it. But um, this story goes on to say that, this pack food offerings, right? Yes. Yeah. Be like, hey, you want to, like Gremlins, right? It's Gremlins where the teacher, the science teacher is trying to give him like a baby Ruth or something like that, and then he ends up getting murdered, right? So this person who's telling this story is also, I guess he's a board member of the Allegan County Historical Society. He says there's no hard evidence that any of this ever happened. But I guess also to say there was never an asylum in the area. However, there was a prison. So maybe it's all the same though, because that's what people have been saying, is that the asylum was either part of the prison or it was the asylum first and then a prison. Either way, that's the building that they're talking about. And he says when you look at the stories and look at the time frames, it kind of fits into the fears that were of that time. He goes, there could be another simple explanation. And he says the Felt Mansion was once used as a Catholic school, and that caused some tension. So he says the town folk referred to them as melonheads because they were considered smarter. It was a negative, obviously. They thought they came from money and that they were rich and had big heads. It seems that every town has a scary story to tell and can get people interested in the world around them. For us, it's fantastic because we're able to draw them in with the interest in the paranormal, and at the same time, they're able to learn about the history of the county. I don't think that's true. I don't think that last part is true, man. I think that's the cover story. Because I've heard, like, people have said they've seen little people that look like what's on the screen here and have been freaked out. Again, I was out there late at night once with friends and I heard those high-pitched screams. I have no idea what it was, but it was not like what you would imagine as like human. It was excuse me, it was freaky. Very freaky. But that's just the first story there. Let me bring this picture down. My brother says, and they can lure visitors as sacrifice to keep them. Yeah. You never know, man. It's possible. But dude, those tunnels, that's one of the things, that's freaky as well. Now, this next story also is out of Allegan. It's out of Allegan County. And it's about the Yellow Motel. I want to see if there's like a picture, a picture of what it used to look like at one time. And I don't think there is anything here. It might be. I'm looking at no, that's a paper mill. I was hoping that there was going to be like some sort of, it looks like the only pictures that you can see of the Yellow Motel, excuse me, is what's left over, what's left from what was there. But looking at this now, like there are tons of images of like scary shit in this county. And it's kind of freaky. Like, excuse me, we grew up in this county, And there were some creepy shit, creepy things that happen around there, but dang, I didn't think there was that much. Like if you just Google Yellow Motel in Allegan, there are a bunch of different pictures that come up. But this is what makes this a little more interesting, and I'm sure there are a lot of states that have maybe a similar story. So there's a warning that's part of this. And you know what? Actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share the link with all of you so that you can check this out as well. All right, there it is. So if you go to this, it looks like it's from a radio station, but there's a warning at the top. There's a warning that says, under no circumstances should you enter this property. By doing so, bodily harm and or prosecution for trespassing on private property, which that's a given. Don't trespass. You're going to get in trouble. But it says, southwest of Allegan, hidden from the road among the trees, lies the site of the legendary Yellow Motel. This is one of Allegan County's most famous haunted places, rumored to be haunted by the ghosts of some of Al Capone's murder victims. The establishment was officially called the Wildwood Castle Resort, but the nickname is the one that sticks in people's minds. Okay, so this is something new because I didn't know. I mean, I knew that the Yellow Motel, that it was a nickname, but I didn't know the actual name of it. So it was the Wildwood Castle Resort. So how about this? Let's look this up really quick and see if maybe we can find something by this name to see what it once looked like. And of course, because it has castle in there, there's a bunch of castles that are coming up. Yeah, there's nothing there. There is an old picture, though, of a bunch of people that look like they're getting ready to go swimming in the Wildwood Farm Resort. I don't know if it's one and the same. Maybe. Okay, hold on. Let me share this with all of you here. And let's see. Because this is kind of interesting here, the way this looks, and it's kind of creepy. I'll make it bigger here. So this picture right here is the one that says Wildwood Farm Resort, and I don't know, man. Like that could be part of what was there. That's crazy. All right, so let me go on with this, because there's a part of this that actually does run with dispatch, and that is the one. That's the part that freaks me out the most. So it continues to say, yes, it's said that Capone visited here too. In fact, he and his men supposedly stayed at the Yellow Motel when he was at the peak of his power in the 1920s. This place was perfect for his needs. Not only were there underground tunnels, seems to be a pattern, that were used as escape routes, but a pool of quicksand was on hand where some of his victims were left to sink and disappear forever. Dude, like how gnarly is that? It says other victims are said to be buried in the woods right on the property. So it says, as for paranormal activity, Al Capone's. Okay, so this is where it gets a little weird. Okay, so a lot of people called it the Yellow Motel because of the place, being haunted and everything. They said that when they would drive by to look at the building, and this is after it's already been like abandoned. I think there was maybe one caretaker there or something, but it was abandoned, the one caretaker or whatever. But also when people would pass by, they would see it glowing at night and described as a putrid yellow. That's why they called it the Yellow Motel. Now, can you imagine being in dispatch, getting a phone call from someone who's passing by that and saying, I was just calling really quick. I don't know if you have an officer in the area, just to check around here, but there's like a glowing yellow kind of in the woods. I'm not sure what it is. I want to go look, and you know that that's where the yellow motel is, and you're like, sir or ma'am, whichever. Yeah, don't go over there. We've got your information. You're not in any danger or anything. Or you don't see anybody out there or anything like that. We'll have someone check the area for you, dude. That would be some creepy shit, right? So there was one morning, okay, I'm working in dispatch, and we had been talking about the Yellow Motel that night, which was the craziest thing. So it was like, what are the odds? So we're talking about it, right? And get a phone call, and it's just about at the end of our shift change. We were working. I was working 4:30 to 4:30, 4:30 p to 4:30 a, and then because I was a supervisor, and then the others were working 5 to 5, and in the sheriff's department had pretty much the same kind of schedule. They were getting ready to leave as well, and we get a phone call from one of the local wreckers, and we get this call, and he goes, "So I'm going out to a vehicle that is like crashed up against a tree. Someone called it in, and they said that it didn't look like there was anybody around it at all. There was no lights on. Car looked like it's been there for a while, and it was also an older car. They couldn't tell how old, but they said it was a pretty old car." And he goes, "So I just wanted to let you guys know um, that I'm driving out there to pick it up, and if you could have an officer there to meet me, and just get everything figured out. I just want to let you guys know." We're like, all right, cool. So they're going through shift change, and we put it out over the air. And the officer that was working in that area overnight, he goes, "Central, I'm headed home right now, and I'm going to be passing by there right in that area. I can go over there and just check on the car really quick just to make sure." Um, because otherwise, if we don't have all that information, of course, it's an unknown accident and everybody's running lights and sirens, but this, person had all this information already. So the officer goes to check it out. We don't think anything of it. We were not even paying attention to the location. And the officer keys up on the radio, and you can tell that he's kind of freaked out. And he goes, "Central, get a hold of the wrecker and let him know to disregard." And we're all just kind of looking around like, okay. And I go to key up, we go to key up to respond, and the deputy gets back on the radio again. He goes, "Central, I just to let you know, I'm out here by the Yellow Motel, and I'm pretty sure that it's the ghost car." And like, I got goosebumps right now because I remember we were all there, and we didn't answer the officer right away. We were like, "No, hell no." Like, what are the odds? We had been talking about the Yellow Motel pretty much all night and some of the stuff that has happened there. Now, let me go through the rest of the story here, because it says, as for paranormal activity, Al Capone's ghostly automobile is said to crash near the hotel on different nights and disappear when witnesses rush to the scene. Other visitors claim to have been followed by a car, lights only, to have them disappear. The apparitions of white, ghostly... So just that part alone, this is what people say. And this shit happened. We were hella freaked out, man. I remember the three of us left together. It's crazy. I don't know. But we experienced it. We lived it. And I'm sure that deputy was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I know I would. I would have gone lights and sirens. So it goes on to say, though, and this part I fully believe because I have cousins who went out there and saw this as well. So it says, apparitions of white, ghostly dogs are spotted guarding the area and have chased snoopers. The image of a blue motel that turns a putrid yellow glow and disappears has been seen around the ruins. Red eyes are seen peeking out of the darkness. Hell no. Like I said, I'm down with being scared. I love the horror genre, but that's creepy. So it says another tale of Yellow Motel haunting concerns a man and wife that spent the night there on their honeymoon. Once he found out she was not a virgin, he killed her and jumped from the window, killing himself as well. And then it says the motel burned down in the 90s, probably by arsonists, but some people feel that it was the ghosts wanting to be rid of it forever. It says paranormal investigators in Allegan County agree there is some spooky activity going on there and throughout the county, with many of them connected to Capone's victims. And it says if you get permission to visit this area, you will walk not only through the woods, but possibly over unmarked resting places of Capone's victims. Oh, dude. Yeah. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me show you something here really quick. Now, before I show you what I'm going to show you, there was also another story that I read, and I can't find it now, but there was another story that said that someone had gone out there, and this was before the motel burned down, and someone had gone out there to talk with the caretaker, and the caretaker was outside cutting the grass. Person pulls up and was just asking questions, and then asks the person, is there anybody living here or anything? And he goes, no, I just, come and kind of keep the area clean and everything. And the person says, well, who's the lady who's there looking outside of the window? And he looks and he goes, she's always there. What? Yeah. There's just one more thing, dude. One more thing. I mean, how crazy would that be too? To be like there, just kind of walking around and you get a phone call on 911 and the person is saying, I'm out here in such and such area. You might know it. It's the Yellow Motel. And there's a lady inside. Like the door's locked. I can't get in, but she looks like she might need help. And it turns out it's just a ghost, man. It's just a ghost that's there trapped in that motel, and you're seeing it, or the hotel rather. Fuck that. All right, I want to show you this here really quick. So this is just looking at this. And again, I gave you the link, so you probably see it as well. But these are just some of the pictures. And so these are the woods. And it says, if you walk straight through here, you will hit the site of the Yellow Motel. Like that right there. Nah, son, already don't want to walk through there. No, I don't. My brother says she needs your soul. Yeah, probably. That's probably what's going on. But look at that right there. Just those trees alone. Just like, I mean, they're like all burnt up. I'm sure that's probably from, the hotel burning down or something, or that's just the way they are. Either way, it looks creepy, right? The trail to the Yellow Motel. So right there. There it is. So this is just like remains and stuff. See, and like so as I said, my brother's in the audience right now watching this, and we used to drive that area. I'm sure we passed by this spot just joyriding, didn't even know. Because we didn't hear about this until we were like in high school. Well, I was in high school. I'm a few years older than my brother and stuff. But either way, we heard about this later on. So for all we know, we could have passed by there, maybe even walked in the area. Oh, look at that. What does that say? It says something right here, and it looks like it says, "I'm coming for you." What? Yeah, that's some creepy shit right there. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can click on that either, but it definitely, so it's right here. Right here it says, "I'm coming for you." Something. I can't tell what the rest of it says, but dude. Okay, that was weird. I thought I saw something walk by. Yep. Not cool. Not cool at all. That was weird. I'm not even joking. I saw something. I don't know what that was, but that was some creepy shit. I'm gonna stop looking at this because obviously something is going on over here. But um those are some of the things that happened in the area where I grew up, but also dispatched in. And that one specific call with that ghost car, dude, that was freaky, man. That was super freaky. And I remember when we ended up calling the wrecker back to disregard them, the dude's like, "Are you for real?" And Dylan says, "So all I'm hearing is don't come visit your creepy ass county." Yes, and I'm wearing a Michigan shirt. No, you're right, dude. Yeah, no, at least not in that spot. Well, then again, right in the county seat. That's where the old jail is. That's where a bunch of different things are, and people like they talk about some of that stuff that happens there, but also in that Felt Mansion. Okay, so here's this. In dispatch, there's different areas, right? And especially areas that you don't know, or there've been, different things that have happened. Excuse me. You do a geo ride, right? For those who don't know what a geo ride is, a geography ride. You do a ride along and you see all of these areas that you're dispatching for, okay? And we had there was a big fire that happened in the very northwest portion of the county. And so this lake town. So there were some kids that were out on the beach, and it was very dry out there. The grass was, and they were shooting off bottle rockets, and one of them ended up hitting the grass. This huge fire happened, and these $1 million homes ended up getting destroyed. Like it was nuts. It was something crazy. I was working that night, and we were working together to get people evacuated. There were so many different things that were going on. So we ended up doing this geo ride out there so that we could see the damage and, just how everything happened. Well, during that time, we get a chance to go to the Felt Mansion. I had never been in there before. I've only driven out there while I was in high school, or just to like maybe to show my mom when she was visiting from Florida, be like, you got to check this out, because the building on the outside is it looks kind of spooky. And now it's different because they've completely restored it. But and of course I click on the one that I'll click on the here we go. Let me show you this really quick and get a better idea of what it looks like. But there it is right there. So right here, black and white, and of course that makes it more creepy the way it looks. But this is the mansion, and this, like this right here, and then it's been restored. So now they have weddings there and everything. But there's a story that has been said. So you see this right here. So there's a story that at a certain time at night, there's a ghostly figure of a female that comes up here and jumps off. Jumps off. I've never seen that myself, but I've heard stories. And it was, I guess it was the wife of the person who built this, I believe. And she's still in the house. And they believe haunting the house because she didn't get a chance to actually enjoy it, like live there. So if you look it up on YouTube, you can find videos of people who have gone to the Felt Mansion and have filmed different things happening in this place. Okay. Dawn, hey, what's going on? So we got a chance. The dispatchers that were with me, we were all doing this geo ride together with the fire chief, Grass Cup Fire. We go to the Felt Mansion, and we get to go inside, and we're walking around. And this is before they had fully restored it, so it's creepy as shit in there. But upstairs, all the bedrooms are set up as they were back then. So when you get up there and you're walking through, like the place is old. So when you're walking, you can hear like all the creaks and everything. Going into those rooms, that was creepy shit because it feels like there is somebody there, like watching you as you walk in. And I remember walking in and thinking, this is a familiar feeling because the house that I grew up in was haunted, and you could feel it. You could feel somebody there. The creepier thing is that those, like the mannequins that that it doesn't have a head, it's just like a torso. The clothing that they wore, each room, the mother and the daughters, like their clothes were on those. And the room that of the mother, who supposedly she jumps off to her death every night, ghostly figure. You walk into that one, I turned around right away because there was not a good vibe. Not a good vibe, man. And I remember looking at the people I was with, and I was like, we should probably go. Like, this doesn't feel good. But we kept going, of course. We kept looking around because it was also interesting. So we go to the very top of the mansion. Did it feel like the basement? Yes. Yeah, dude. I'll get to that here in a moment. But yes, that's what it felt like. So you get all the way to the top. And it's a huge ballroom. So now that they've restored it, they have weddings there. But we walked into that ballroom and it was creepy too. It was very creepy. And I didn't get a chance to do it, but because I worked where I worked and I knew the officer who worked that area, there was a time when I was going to record an episode of the podcast in that ballroom. Never happened. Didn't get a chance to do it. Well, I'm kind of glad that we didn't get a chance to do it though. Because that would, oh man, that would have been crazy. Because if you go on YouTube again and you look up the Felt Mansion, there are a lot of paranormal videos of people there and up in that ballroom area and doors just like shutting by themselves, just like slamming. And when we got out of there, the feeling was gone. I was like, oh man, like, yeah, there is something in there. It is not a good thing. But people are having weddings there now. They're having weddings there, spending a lot of money. But also, shit, I don't know. I've not spoken to anybody who's had a wedding there or been to a wedding there. For all we know, they're up in that ballroom dancing and stuff, and they end up feeling just like a little brush on them. You're like, oh shit, what was that? So as my brother was saying, was it like the basement? Ooh, yes. Dawn says, yeah, never. I want to see if I can find this. Because I won't be able to do it justice without it. I thought I had the image. But I don't think I do. Oh, wait. Dawn says I don't do spooky. I'm too old and fluffy to run. Oh, Dawn, you make me laugh. So let me see here. Oh, I was hoping that I had the link. So I wrote a story. Well, not so much a story. I was telling this story about the house, and it's called "Home is Where the Ghosts Are." And I had it in a blog, and the reason I say this and I bring it up is because I have a picture of um our old house. I don't have it here right now, but man. So the house that we grew up in was haunted. Okay. And this is the last story I'll tell because we're already past the hour. And creepy shit used to happen there. Like, when my parents first bought this house, and this was before my siblings and I were born, they used to hear a man screaming from the basement. Screaming. And of course, we were freaked out, them telling us this. I mean, we're older as they're telling us this. We were like, why didn't you move? Why didn't you leave? And they're like, this was our house. But it used to happen a lot. Well, then they find out the house that we grew up in, their forever home, used to be a funeral home. And I remember them kind of laughing about it and being like, no wonder we got it so cheap. Yeah, you think? So they ended up having, their priest from their church come to the house and bless it. And I remember them saying that when they went down into the basement, that he immediately was like, this is not a good place. Like, I'm going to bless this place, but this is not a good place. Like, there's something. And once he did what he did, they didn't hear it anymore. Like, they didn't hear anything out there, or down there rather. Now I remember growing up, going down into that basement and feeling something there. Someone. No idea. But you could feel it. And like my brother and I would go down there and we would run upstairs because it was that creepy. But when you ran upstairs, it felt like whatever was there was running with you. Nope. So it goes further. As a kid, I remember being down in the basement, excuse me, with my parents. We were all the way at the end of the basement. And there were these hooks from the ceiling, like right above us. And above that, in the home, in our house, was my grandmother's room. Okay. I remember that. It was my grandmother's room. Now these hooks were there, and I remember this vividly, like it was yesterday. I remember being down there and holding on to those hooks and swinging back and forth. And my parents telling me, no, don't do that. Stay off of the hooks. And eventually they were removed. So what were those hooks? Remember, this house was a funeral home at one time. So in my grandmother's room, we would go in there sometimes and, sit and talk with her or whichever. She would have like these little hard candies and she'd hook us up with them. And in her closet, it was weird because we've got pictures where you can see this. And in her closet was like this little wooden step. Well, what her room used to be was where the casket would be. That little step is where someone would step up to give the eulogy. Those hooks once had chains, and that is where they pulled up the casket. And our living room was where people would sit to view. I'm not lying, man. There's no shit. This is real. But it goes further. Okay. So it goes further. Do you hear that? Can you hear that through the microphone? I don't know what that is. I don't know if you can hear it or not. I'll continue with the story, though. So, when you would go to the basement, when you go inside our house, you go in through the living room, go into the kitchen, and right to the left is a doorway. You go down one small flight of stairs, and then cement, an area, right? And then you get to another doorway. And this is where it would start to get creepy. Because there was one light right to the left with a string, and we would turn it on right away. Because when you get to that spot, it is pitch black. You can't see anything. So when you turn the light on, you look down, and those stairs go down even further. And when you look to the side, there was a ladder that went up into the attic area. Something we never went to. So you start going down that flight of stairs, and then there's another little cement slab. And right here, when you're standing there, is a crawl space. And there's a curtain there. And whenever you would get to that spot, it felt as though someone was looking at you. And then there's two more steps. And then you're finally down into the basement. Now, when you walk further in to the left, there's an area there where like the water heater, like the furnace, like everything was in there. So when you walk in there and you turn to look in back of you, or to the left rather, where that crawl space area was, there's a shape like this. And that's where they would cremate the bodies. So imagine that. Inside that spot, I remember my dad and I going in there and putting garbage bags in there because we used it as a storage area. And again, I vividly remember this like it was yesterday. And I remember us being in there, and we're on top of dirt, okay? Dirt. And I remember asking my dad, excuse me, where did all of this dirt come from? And he goes, it was here when we bought the house. And I said, oh, okay. Because I was wondering, like, how could they get all of that dirt down here? And why? Why is that there? Dude, I don't think it was dirt. I think it was all the ash from bodies that were burned there. Or something. I don't know. But it was there, and it was there when they bought the house. And that's what that spot used to be. Not good, right? So I remember we used to hear like kids crying. Little kids. Oh, my brother, we all crawled in it too. Yes, we did. We all crawled in it. If we had known, probably wouldn't have done it. But we all crawled in it. Now again, we used to hear like little kids crying in the vents. Creepy. I remember having nightmares there. But also then later on, I'm a teenager, and I wanted a bigger room. My brother and I wanted a bigger room. So what did we do? Our dumbasses ended up moving into the basement. How stupid, right? How stupid. Because all this crazy stuff was going on. Yet we were growing up and we were like, we'll take the basement. And it was like our own little apartment down there, but creepy shit still happened. Yet we still stayed. Eventually we moved out because then our parents ended up moving down there, and they fixed it up down there, and it looked pretty nice, but still creepy shit would happen. So, all of this stuff is going on as we're growing up and everything, right? And my parents, they eventually end up getting divorced, and we all move out of the house. And I remember when I moved back from Florida, I wanted to show my wife the house that I grew up in. And a buddy of mine and I and her went there to check the place out because my mom was selling the house, okay? And we were able to get in. I'll just say we were able to get in. And we were walking around. And I was like, wow, the house hasn't really changed. It looks the same. And then we went into the basement. She wouldn't go into the basement. But I went in, and my buddy did. And when we went down there, the feeling wasn't the same. Like, it didn't feel like it used to. The weird thing, though, was that, so when my parents had that room down there, they had a huge rug on the wall of Jesus. And when I went down there, this rug was torn apart, and like the eyes were like blacked out. It was the freakiest thing I've ever seen. There were also pictures down there. Some of our older family photo albums, and they were scattered everywhere. Like someone was looking for someone, and some of the faces and eyes were like destroyed too. And I was like, okay, we've been here long enough. Let's go. And I remember when we left, that feeling was kind of there a little bit. Never went back. Years later, my dad and my sisters, they end up going back to the house because my dad knows the people who live there and they wanted to check it out. And when they got back, they told me how the place looks so different. But the crazy thing was that the basement was now sealed off. And they asked the owner of the house, "Why did you seal it off?" And he said, "It's because we heard a man yelling in the basement." So it continued. After we were all gone, that stuff still kept happening. Now, there's one last story. I left it out on purpose. So as I said, my parents, they divorced. My mom was selling the house. I told you that I went there, had that little experience. And there was something else that happened. See, my mom had to go back and clean the house up before she sold it. So her and my grandmother went. And they went to the basement. And they were in the stairway, right where the crawl space is. And they start cleaning. And my mom said that she didn't feel anything at first. They just continue doing what they're doing. She was a little nervous. She hadn't been back in the house for a while. And then out of nowhere, she felt something cold in the back of her neck. And she started freaking out. She got nervous. It felt the same way that it did back then. My grandmother felt it as well. So she told her, just pray. Everything will be okay. Just pray. So she started to. But before she could start, she heard a whisper. And she grabbed my grandmother and she split. They didn't go back. So my mom told me this. And I asked her, what did you hear? What did you hear? What was the whisper? And she said, I don't want to tell you. I can't tell you. And I said, Mom, it's been a long time. You're never going back to that house again anyway. What did you hear? And she said, what I heard was, I knew you would come back.